Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So we continue this evening في باب من تبرك بشجرة أو حجر أو نحوهما, the chapter regarding the one who seeks blessings from a tree or a stone or something similar. And yesterday we kind of were prefacing the chapter, reflecting on the meaning of a tabarruk and how this concept of seeking blessings is a nuanced discussion in our religion. And we talked about a tabarruk basically going back to, or the meaning of a tabarruk going back to two meanings. The first one we said was ad-dawam wal-istimrar, perpetuity, continuity, continuation. And we said the second one was az-ziyada wal-nama, which means increase, growth, enhancement. And we said that a tabarruk in our religion is two categories. First category is tabarruk al-mashru', the one that is legislated, the one that is allowed, the one that is permitted. And we said that that permitted one is divided into two categories. Tabarruk ad-dini, the seeking of blessings, which is religious, or is related to the religion, or legislated by the religion. And tabarruk ad-dunyawi, that's the one that is secular, it's non-religious, but in many cases it's confirmed, or its legitimacy is confirmed by the religion. And so we gave examples of a tabarruk ad-dunyawi, ad-dini. We said it's a tabarruk biz-zaman, with the time, the occasion, or the season. And we said one example of that was Ramadan. We said tabarruk bil-makan, you seek blessings from a specific place. And we said a good example of that is Al-Haramain. Then we said tabarruk bil-a'mal, that there are some deeds that bring us blessings. Like what? As-salat was-siyam, prayer and fasting. Then we said tabarruk bil-dhawat, that there are some people, some individuals, that they themselves are blessed, and they can, and their blessing can be what? Transferred to other people. Like who? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To the point that the companions would do what? They would actually what? They would touch him. He would touch people, and he would bless them with his touch, and they would be blessed by what? By touching him. Also the athar, the effects. So for example, his jubba, his cloak, and even what? His spittle. The Prophet ﷺ would spit, and like we said, they would catch his spit out of the air and would rub it on themselves. His dem, his blood, and his what? The water that would come off his body from wudu. We also mentioned a tabarruk ad-dunyawi. We said there are some things in the world, Allah put blessings in them, and the blessings in those things have been confirmed by the deen, like al-asal. We gave that example, honey. And like al-habba as-sawda, black seed. You guys see that? Mumtaz. Another example, ma zamzam. Okay. Now we come to the second qism, the second category, which is the tabarruk al-muharram. It's the one that's not legislated. It's the one that's prohibited, the one that's forbidden. And that one, the one that's prohibited, is what? Is four categories. The first one, at-tabarruk al-shirki shirkan akbar. The tabarruk, which is what? It is idolatry, and it is major polytheism, major idolatry. And that's when people worship people, places, or things. They offer acts of worship to those people, places, and things, hoping in return to get someone, some blessing. So some people, Muslim people, let alone the non-Muslims, will go to a place where, for example, a righteous person is allegedly, supposedly buried. And they will go there seeking barakah, seeking blessings. And they'll do acts of worship in order to what? To secure those blessings. Like what? A tawaf. They'll circle a tomb, a shrine. They'll actually do what? A dhabh. They'll make sacrifices. They'll make a nadhr. They'll make oaths. All these are what? Acts of worship. And they'll do that. They'll do that to get what? The barakah from what? From this supposed saintly person. And some of the people in our masjid, they don't do it themselves, but they've seen it. People do it in their own countries. It's not something made up. This is something that people do to this day. There are places, and there are places that people go, and they basically make a pilgrimage to these places. And sometimes they do it at certain parts of the year. They designate a day that they say this is the best day to go, and they'll what? Make pilgrimage and do these things. The second form of tabarruk is a tabarruk ash-shirki shirkan asghar. It's the minor shirk. And this is where a person believes that there is barakah in something, but they have no evidence to support it. They have no evidence to support it. So for example, a person believes that there is a barakah in a certain type of food or drink. Drink this, eat this. What they'll say to a woman, they'll say, drink this, eat this, what tunjibi. If you drink this or you eat this, you'll what? You'll have a baby, you'll get pregnant. Your womb will be fertile. Or they'll say, tunjibi ibnan, you want to have a son? Eat this. And then you'll have a son. Y'all see that? They believe that this food has barakah in it. Or they believe that if you do X or you do Y or you go to such and such place, that place has barakah and your dua is more likely to be accepted if you pray there. But not a place like Al-Haramain, a place where the religion has told us, some place that what? Is purely based upon what? Speculation. So that's another example of what? They believe that the barakah comes from Allah, but what? In something that they have no proof to support it. This food will give you barakah. This place will give you barakah. From who? Allah. But they have no way to support it. That's shirkun asghar. Because it goes back to the qaida we talked about, qaidat al-asbab. That you make something a cause for something, and you have no proof for what? For that causality. The third one is a tabarruk al-bid'i. A tabarruk al-bid'i, and this is where people believe that certain righteous people who are alive have what? Have barakah. So like the way that the companions used to what? They used to rub the Prophet or be rubbed by the Prophet. They would catch his spittle. They would, collect the water from his wudu. Some people do that for what? People they call what? Righteous people or scholar. And you'll have some people, sometimes a person will come and they're scholarly. Half of the Quran, well-known reciter. And people will be trying to do what? They'll be trying to touch him. Why do they try to do that? Because they think that what? There's some barakah. You guys see that? They think that they'll take some barakah. This person that's what we call it tabarruk al-bid'i. The last one is a tabarruk al-muharram. The one that's prohibited. There's no shirk involved, there's no bid'ah involved, but it's still what? It's still prohibited. Go back to what we said. The meaning of tabarruk is in the language. It's any time or anything you use to seek what? An increase, growth, enhancement, improvement. And so anytime you do something that will achieve in your mind some type of enhancement or growth or improvement, that's tabarruk. If the thing that you do to get from A to B is muharram, that's what we call tabarruk al-muharram. And that includes what? As-sariqah. That would include what? Stealing. When a person steals, what do? They increase their income. They increase their money. They increase their wealth. But they do it using what? A means which is prohibited. You guys see that? So this is an example of a tabarruk al-muharram, as-sariqah, stealing. And so these are the four prohibited types of a tabarruk. And some examples of these, particularly the first two, ash-shirkul akbar wal asghar, are going to be mentioned by the Shaykh rahimahullah ta'ala in the ayah and the hadith that he's going to cite on this chapter. And we'll look at those when we meet again, not tomorrow, but Saturday, inshallah ta'ala. Any questions? تفضل حاتم.
heard that during the time of Umar ibn Khattab, he heard Umar ibn Khattab came to his attention that some people were visiting the tree of Al-Hudaybiyah.
Say it. Talk louder.
Some people were visiting the tree of Al-Hudaybiyah. Was mentioned in the Quran. And seeking barakah there. So Umar ibn Khattab ordered the tree
that it be cut down. That it be cut down. And it may have been this same tree or another tree. That they were traveling, Umar and a group of people. I think they were returning from either Umar or Hajj. And they stopped to rest. And Umar saw a bunch of people going to a specific place and offering prayer. So he said, what are those people doing? And he said, that is a place where the Prophet was reported to have stopped and prayed, so they're praying there. And he prohibited them. He said, whoever reaches that place and the prayer adrakathu, the prayer came in at the time where he reached that place, let him pray. Otherwise, let him not pray. At-taqassul al-makan, basically intentionally targeting a place, and you don't have any evidence for the blessedness of that place, is what? Is at the very least bid'ah. And so Umar prohibited it. But what you said, there's another narration, like you said, I think these are two separate narrations. There's one where he asked the tree to be cut down for this purpose, to avoid having people going there thinking that what? It was Mubarak or Mubarak, the shajar. Muhammad, you had something?
Yeah, I heard people say
Speak louder. These people are going to get mad, brother.
I seen people. I heard people they would say when you recite Surah Yasin, either in the morning you get sustenance, sustenance increase, or when someone passes away. Is that a part of it?
Okay. At-tabarruk ad-dini. So, for example, if you make, we talked about, sometimes that has to do with the time or the season. It has to do with a place. It has to do with a certain deed, a certain religious deed. In this case, a religious deed. There are some religious deeds. There's some surah that you recite, right? There's some adiyah that the Prophet taught us. And they have barakah. If you do this, you'll get this. There's no question about it. What we have to do is, especially when it comes to the claims that certain ayat, certain surah are fadila, right? Oh, that's fadl, that they have some type of blessing, they have some type of virtue or blessing that comes hand in hand with reciting them. We just need to support it. Because one of the areas where there's a lot of fabrication is this particular area. If you read this surah, you'll get this benefit. If you read this ayah, you'll get this benefit. If you read this section of the Quran, you'll get that benefit. There's a lot of fabrication there. And so we just have to confirm. If it is confirmed, if these things are confirmed about Yasin, then we accept it. If they're not confirmed, we don't accept it. And if people do it, despite it not being confirmed, it would be bid'ah. It would be innovation. It wouldn't be shirk because it's the words of Allah. You can't make shirk with Allah with His words. You see that? But you can do bid'ah. You can do an innovation. Or here's Abdullah, we'll give you the final word.
Yeah, inshallah, I was trying to, based on what you say in this Quran, you remember in South Carolina here, I know I followed Sheikh Unani brothers. We went there, they have a shrine in South Carolina.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. And for years, I didn't know what ulama or what sheikh was buried in that shrine in South Carolina.
Imam, South Carolina. Wow. Yeah. That's deep, brother.
And they have a blessing at the shrine.
That's deep, brother.
Yeah, it's very old. They have a large Muslim group.
Yeah, they have like a little town that they carved out. I know about that. I didn't know that there was a shrine in South Carolina.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
And you went there.
I went there.
Really? And what did you do when you went there? Don't answer. Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
I mean, I went there. I was joining the group.
Hey.
So, and we have, there was Maulud there.
Hey.
So we went there.
Hey.
And I didn't know there was a worship area. They have a masjid in that shrine.
Wow. Allahu Akbar. I did not know that, Abdullah.
Yeah.
And I guess it's Jazakallah khair, Abdullah, for mentioning that, because I think sometimes when we talk about these topics, people think that this is something that it doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. People are too sophisticated. Nobody's, backward enough to worship a shrine, worship an idol, bow down to an object, and especially no one amongst the Muslims, quote unquote. So it's important that when people who have experienced it and seen what people do, that they tell you, look, this is real, it still happens, and so therefore we need to be aware of it so we can avoid it. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد